This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Hello, greetings and welcome. Welcome to the Stereo 999 YouTube channel. I am your host, the artist formerly known as Stereo Steve. The big floating head on your screen. Okay, well, before I do anything else in this video, I got a VCLT package. So, you know, the gifts just keep on coming. You saw my mystery donor Christmas records last week. This week, I got a package. I got a package from my homie, Cosmic Brian. And he's been very supportive of my channel with the comments and the encouragement. And I sent him some stuff a while back. And he sent me some stuff just recently. I saw it at the front when I came back from the grocery store. And so I am going to unbox this sucker. I'm going to do it 8 vinyl low style where I don't read the note. Oh, there's 2 notes. And let's see what I got. Ooh. The Undisputed Truth. Cosmic Truth. Okay. The man knows I love me some 70s soul. Produced by Norman Whitfield from 1975. Oh, this looks awesome. This looks awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think I have their big hit song, Smiling Faces. But I think I got the 45 of that. But this is awesome. Whole album of Undisputed Truth. And that's the Undisputed Truth. Okay, let's see what's next here. Ooh! Holy Jesus, damn. The Deviants. Disposable. The Deviants were the band with Mick Farren, who went on to write science fiction novels in the 90s, but he was a troublemaker in the kind of Hawkwind, Pink Fairies squad. But yeah, no, dude, I had some Deviants on CD, but none on vinyl, and I have been wanting this one, so thank you again. Okay, let's see what else. What else? Michelangelo. I have no idea what this is, but looks like an Italian. This looks like some mental private press, isn't it? Oceans of Fantasy. What are these song titles? Lost in the Pain. Oh, this looks really cool. This is going to keep me busy for a while, I think. Okay. A couple of stickers. Vintage vinyl sticker. And a Vertigo Swirl sticker. And there's one more record. Oh, there's some more stickers. Oh, I love me some stickers. I'm going to stick these stickers. Dead Wax Records. Smokey's Edibles. Oh, okay, no comment. Two-Headed Dog Knives. And Planet Score Records. Oh, very cool stickers. And there's one more record in here. Last but not least, oh, Bootsy Ultra Wave. Okay. No. You need not worry that you sent me anything I already have, because I did not have Bootsy Ultra Wave. Bootsy, as in Bootsy Collins. And no, I have Bootsy Player of the Year, but I did not have Bootsy Ultra Wave. So, dude, thank you so much. Amazing, amazing. All right, well, let's see what the note says.
Steve, if you're watching this, man, I fucking dig your channel, bro.
Sometimes I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion.
Okay, and we are back. And yeah, I had this idea kind of kicking around in my head, and I decided I'm gonna go with it. And it's I'm gonna talk about jazz reissues, but I'm gonna talk about jazz reissues from the 70s, 80s, and 90s that I have in my collection. Because it was really the late 80s and early 90s when I was collecting jazz most obsessively, and wanted to get into, because I see people talk about like these really nice reissues that have come out lately of like old Blue Note albums and stuff, and they're awesome, but they're kind of expensive, maybe a little intimidating. And then I see people talk about originals, but I don't hear people talk about the stuff in between. I mean, sometimes they just kind of write off a lot of them as crap. But I have some interesting ones, you know. I mean, they kind of did some interesting stuff, like when Fantasy bought out Prestige in 1972. They were reissuing like double albums and compilations and changing the cover art, and there was a lot of kind of stuff like that going on. And you know, I mean, it's about the music. I mean, it's they're not baseball cards, you know, and you're not a stockbroker. It's about hearing this awesome music that these musicians like put their heart and soul into. So I want to show you some of these kind of in between reissues, and just give you a little kind of rundown.
Yeah, Steve was about to get all rambling and philosophical, so I had to cut him off. But really what's going on here is that Steve wants to geek out about label variants, because Well, let me start with the label everybody loves, Blue Note. This is the best of Herbie Hancock on Blue Note. Double album, 1971 this collection came out. It's a double album of Herbie Hancock's 60s material when United Artists was owned by Transamerica. But anyway, this was the Liberty Records takeover of Blue Note. And those labels have kind of a similar to Liberty Records kind of graphic design. And then later on in the 70s, there were Blue Note records with this label. And then the last Blue Note I want to show you. This is a weird kind of 1992 reissue of John Coltrane's Blue Train. And what I want to direct your attention to is that they blew it. They printed it sideways because it was supposed to be like this, but they did it like that. You see? They printed the text on the label sideways. Another label I want to talk about is Riverside, and I'm going to show an original Riverside label just for the sake of comparison. This is Moonbeams by Bill Evans with the model Nico on the cover. And see, the original Riverside labels were blue like this, New York address. And they were one of the labels that got bought out by ABC Records in the 70s. And this Wes Montgomery, this is what the ABC Riverside labels look like. Okay, and if you find a Riverside record with a black label, that is something special, because those are the Japanese pressings that came out in the 80s. And they are high quality. Sometimes they have some Japanese liner notes. And Riverside was eventually bought out by Fantasy Records in California and made part of their OJC series. which stands for Original Jazz Classics. I believe Concord is putting out OJCs again, but this was a revolution, because after years of changing the cover art and reshuffling the tracks, the OJCs had the original cover art. The Riverside OJC labels looked like that. I kept the hype sticker back when I bought this. Okay, Prestige. Prestige, the original Prestige records had that yellow label, which you're going to see in a minute, and a New York address. And where I came in on collecting these are the early 60s blue label New Jersey address. And they were notorious for repackaging their albums. I mean, this album was originally an Elmo Hope album, but Train and Hank Mobley were a lot more famous by the time they reissued this in the early 60s. So it became a John Coltrane album. Fantasy Records in Berkeley took over Prestige in 1972, and they started doing these green label pressings. A lot of times they did double albums that were either 2 albums repackaged or compilations. This one I really like. It's called Tallest Trees by Miles Davis, and it's kind of a reissue of the Bags Groove album. It's got it's all tracks recorded between 1953 and 1956, and the first round of Fantasy Prestige records had this green label with the Berkeley address on them. Sometimes they would just straight up reissue a classic album but change the cover art. The original Walkin' by Miles Davis had like a traffic stoplight on it. But this one I was pleasantly surprised, because it says electronically reprocessed for stereo, and it's not. I listened to it, and it's the original mono mix, and it's actually a pretty nice sounding pressing. So yeah, don't be afraid of these. You know, I mean, you can, if it's between getting one of these reissues and not having it, you know, get the reissue. Because like I said, it's about the music. There's John Coltrane's beautiful Lush Life record. And this is a OJC, and they replicate everything down to the yellow label. You just see OJC and the serial number. But these are nice, quiet vinyl, you know? I mean, the original is always going to be a little crackly. Another Prestige offshoot label was called New Jazz. And what's weird about those, I mean, so this is what the original New Jazz label looked like, and this is an OJC reissue of it. But some of the OJC reissues of New Jazz just have a purple label with the text without the New Jazz logo. Okay, Impulse. Impulse. In the 70s, Impulse was bought out by ABC Records, and they had this label that was very similar to the orange ABC Records label, except green. And in the late 80s, the MCA reissues of the Impulse albums, they changed the artwork a little bit. They all had this font, because this is what the original album looked like. It just had the title Coltrane like that. But they kind of standardized their whole series of reissues and slightly altered the artwork. You know, had the artist name in this font. Now this is the Black Saint and Sinner Lady reissue with liner notes on the sleeve instead of the gatefold. And kind of similar to the, you know, I mean the orange and black, but a little different design here. And you know, there were digital steps in the master. So what? So what? They're on good vinyl and they sound nice and clean. The Columbia ones, maybe they cleaned them up a little too much, but they kept the original artwork with just this kind of border and this little Columbia jazz masterpieces. And this was again around the same time in the late 80s. And they gave them this label. Not the coolest looking label I've ever seen, but again, it's worth it to have these great albums. Atlantic kind of did something similar where they reissued the albums and changed the artwork. This was earlier. This was 1981. Because this album, I don't have an original to show you, but this album had different artwork, like a painting, and it's just, instead it has a picture of Charles. And it's Atlantic Jazz Lore. This series, I don't have too many from this series. Maybe just this one. Okay, and the last label I'm going to talk about is a label I don't hear too many people talk about, called MRC. And MRC was distributed by Mercury. And I'm just going to show you an original one for comparison's sake. This is an original MRC label, looked like this. Blue with this weird little guy that's like playing drums or something. Long playing, high fidelity, MRC. This is Lionel Hampton jam session in Paris. There was a label in the 70s called Trip Records. Trip Records reissued a bunch of MRC records. Like this one, it's Clifford Brown, Max Roach at Basin Street. And they would give them they would have the original cover in a little square and then have, you know, the date and all this. And some people hate these, but some of these are actually, I really like this one. In fact, I bought this album on CD when CDs first came out, and I rebought this pressing the next time I saw it because I thought it sounded better. And yeah, it was like Trip Jazz with the black label. It's just kind of a cool label. And they were cheap, you know, they got the music to the people, you know. But here's the, this is a nice one, Paul Quinochet, Moods. And he did that one album with John Coltrane, but his style was a lot more smooth, a lot more kind of Lester Young style. But this is the less cool looking Trip label, a reissue of MRC. But last but not least, this is Best Coast Jazz with Clifford Brown and Max Roach again. And this, the MRC Jazz series. Yeah, if you see this label, this is the Japanese reissues, and these are very high quality vinyl. Okay, so I invite you to investigate on your own these titles I've shown you And when you're flipping through records and you see these labels, you can say, oh yeah, that's like a 80s pressing or a 70s pressing or something, you know.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Okay, so that pretty much wraps up my video. I hope you found it interesting, informative, you know, about the different record labels and whatnot. And if you are new here and you enjoyed this, you could give it a thumbs up. You could subscribe. You could watch some of my other videos, you know. Leave a comment. Let me know some of your thoughts. That'd be cool. So yeah, before I split, I'll just go over these VCLTs one more time. Brian, Cosmic Brian, thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's been a few days, so I've actually listened to these for a couple days. So, Bootsy, Ultra Wave. This was the bomb. I never had this one. You know, it's not on Spotify. There's like a best of Bootsy compilation on Spotify, but you know, I was looking for this album. I was looking for Player of the Year on Spotify. I couldn't find him. Bootsy, Funkadelic. This one, I mean, I'm a big fan. This is one that I needed and never got around to getting. So now I got some Deviants on vinyl. I have a couple of CDs, but very cool. This guy was all right. Michelangelo. I dug this. It was like from 1977. And I guess he was a session guy who like recorded his own album on his own time. You know, it's got that private pressed vibe. Kind of reminds me of a less experimental Bob Trimble, like the tunefulness of it. And yeah, I really dig this one. And Undisputed Truth. I was not familiar with this album at all. I do dig this band, these Motown guys. And yeah, good stuff. Okay, well, thanks for watching, everybody. And peace. Big Chug. Dude, thank you. Thank you. No, man. Thank you.